For some reason, Leah Remini is becoming a popular name once again, so let's revisit some of the people and things that she's exposed. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are 10 Hollywood secrets Leah Remini exposed. Number 10, Tom Cruise's cookie dough. Tom Cruise is known to have a bit of a bad temper. According to Leah Remini, Tom once lashed out at his assistants after he couldn't find a tube of cookie dough when Leah and her husband Angelo were over for a visit. She claims that Tom asked his assistants to prep the cookie dough, and when he walked into the kitchen a few minutes later to find no cookie dough waiting for him, he flipped. Tom went off at his flustered assistant, grabbing a science book, holding it above his head, and telling the assistant, L. Ron Hubbard is here, Dave and I are here, and you are down here. According to Leah, the assistant had the fear of God put inside of them because they knew what was about to happen. Remini diffused the situation by casually pointing out that the cookie dough was behind Tom on the counter the entire time. Tom is known for his temper. A former assistant revealed that when Tom turned 19, he threw a book at her head because the book was a bunch of Teen Beat style articles written about him when he considered himself an adult. The search associated with Tom has claimed that this never happened and is just a story for Leah's book, but the assistants and Leah's husband were eyewitnesses, so nice try, science guy. Number 9, bad parents. A large chunk of Leah Remini's book is dedicated to exposing Tom Cruise and his role in the scientific community. Apart from cookie dough, freakouts, and secret meetings, she mentions how terrible of a parent he really was. Tom and his ex Katie had their marriage after their daughter Suri was born, and in her book she speaks of their wedding day, where she discovered baby Suri on a tile floor surrounded by 3 women, including Tom's sister and his assistant. She was crying very loudly, and Leah claims that the women were speaking to her as if they were trying to calm down an angry and annoyed adult. Neither Katie nor Tom were anywhere to be seen when this happened, leaving a lot of people to question if Tom is even a good dad. We know he isn't these days, at least according to online sources and his family, but seems like Tom hasn't seen Suri in years. Number 8, Sharon Osbourne. Sharon and Leah had a very bad public feud a few years back, but according to Leah, things are okay now. The two were co-hosts on the show The Talk, but Leah was let go following the very first season in 2011. At the time, Leah blamed Sharon Osbourne for the firing as they had apparently had an altercation off camera. Leah called Sharon out for supposedly using racist language when speaking in reference to a crew member, but Sharon claims that never happened. Leah said that at the time she believed Sharon was her friend, and because of that, Tidal expected a lot from the co-host. The story was backed up by several co-hosts, and more details were released. She had apparently been using some very poor words when speaking about her co-hosts Julie Chen and Sarah Gilbert. I will not repeat what she said because it is so rude and vile and just no. Leah also revealed that at times Sharon would even use slurs aimed at her that were usually associated with Italian people. When Remini would not support Sharon, she used the power behind the scenes to take Remini out for good. Number 7, John Travolta. Tom Cruise is not the only famous celebrity involved in weird science. Danny Zuko himself is a man who loves to read. In fact, he will tell you to do the same thing if you ask him why he's involved with the Church of Science. That's it, no explanation or what is in the book he's recommending, just go find one and read one. Read a book! I picked Harry Potter. John is well known to have confirmed his involvement with the crew, but there is specifically one really unsettling thing about him, and is that he seems like an okay guy, but as I said, every time someone asks him about what it means, he tells people to educate themselves and read a book. I found so many examples of celebrities all giving the exact same answer when they're asked this question, and it's horrifying. There is no straight answer, it's very weird, they tell you to go to a library, that's pretty sus. Number 6, Jada Pinkett Smith. For those who don't know, Jada lives in a world of science, but I can't even talk about what that means. Oh wait, you'll know what it means. Leah Remini, who you might know from King of Queens or Old School or just all the movies that she's in, is very outspoken, especially against Jada. The rumors that Will and Jada were big into science was something that Leah mentions in her book, Troublemaker, Surviving Hollywood and Weird Science, and she brought it up again when speaking to the Daily Beast in 2017. She claims to know for certain that Jada was involved for a long time. She had seen Will once in a blue moon, however, she did spot Jada Jada attending several events at the Celebrity Center in Hollywood. When Leah claimed to have knowledge of this, Jada clapped back on Twitter, naming all of the houses of worship that she's visited without being an actual member of them. A year later, they appeared on Red Table Talk together to hash things out, and after the interview, Jada gushed about how they connected in the interview and said that they were two broken little babies inside of them that just were abandoned by their parents. And Leah was like, man, that lady needs help. Number 5, Giovanni Ribisi. Giovanni Ribisi, best known for his more comedic roles in movies like Ted, is another celebrity that is openly linked to the world of science, being another celebrity that encourages people to read a book and educate themselves instead of him having to explain the unexplainable. Gio actually used to practice Scientology alongside his co-star from My Name is Earl, Jason Lee, aka Earl Hickey, who you will know from plenty of great movies. Himself and Leah had butted heads for years, but back in 2016, the release of her book prompted an even greater hatred. These two have been at each other's throats ever since. Metaphorically speaking, it would be pretty weird if every time you went outside there was just Leah Remini and Giovanni Ribisi brawling on the streets. You can sell tickets to that. Gio is not the most famous person in this book to be exposed, but he is mentioned, so he counts. Number 4, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Maggie and Leah used to be very close when Leah was a former member of the Weird Science, but she has had a massive falling out with the group ever since. The controversy led to several altercations and rifts in friendships. Following her exit from the church, Maggie and Leah continued to argue and battle with each other as to what the superior decision was. The better place to be for Leah was behind a desk typing her feelings into a book. I've never read this book, so if you have, good for you. I barely had enough mental capacity to read the articles about this lady, let alone her actual words and thoughts. Maggie is just another celebrity that wishes Leah would stop telling so-called lies and misleading the public into thinking that the group are a bunch of famous nuts who play hide and seek together from time to time. Guys, Leah didn't make you look like that. You made you look like that. Number 3, Elizabeth Moss. Star of the popular series Handmaid's Tale, is another celebrity involved in the church, and this video is quite literally just a list of people involved in weird science that Leah Remini either has a beef with or has some kind of feud. Elizabeth and Leah have actually only crossed paths a handful of times, but each seems to be worse than the last. Leah is blasted by any and all celebrities linked to weird science, with Elizabeth just being one of the more shy of the bunch. Herself and Leah have been fairly reserved in their feud, with the only knowledge of its existence coming from Leah herself. A few years back, Elizabeth shared some of her views on the science side of things, and her words caused Leah to label the crew as a cult, and that their sole goal was to grow their numbers. Leah tore Elizabeth and her statements apart, causing a back and forth that lasts to this day. The argument is literally just the two going back and forth, claiming that the other is the reason for their annoyance. We've all been there. Number 2, Kirstie Alley. If there has ever been a difficult clip to watch on this list, this is the one. Leah Remini writes a lot about the celebrities she knows to be involved with the group, including Kirstie Alley. Kirstie is best known for her role on Cheers and in movies like It Takes Two. But if you are a fan of cringy clips, you might know her best from her season on Celebrity Big Brother. During her time on that show, she was asked about her beliefs a few times, but the best clip comes from her interaction with fellow castmate from that season, Rodrigo Alves. She tells her that the best way to educate herself is to read a book. Hey, I already said that before. But unlike TV hosts and interviewers in the past, she pushed further, telling Kirstie that she is right there, ready to go, so you could just explain what would be in the book, right? To which Kirstie said no. Rodrigo had her own set of issues on that season, but this moment really stuck into the minds of those who witnessed it. Like, why not? Why do I have to go read a whole book that you have already read? That'd be like going to a doctor's office and them being like, oh, I know what's wrong with you, but you have to read my medical school journals to figure it out. And at number 1, Dancing with the Stars. A few years back, Leah was asked to be a guest dancer on Dancing with the Stars. And as the season progressed, more and more backlash came up, mainly from the science community voicing their annoyance that she was fine to be on a show and dance her heart out, but other active and vocal members like Tom Cruise and John Travolta or anyone else who was on this list are questioned at every turn. Leah responded to the hate by informing people that the show that she was on had nothing to do with her views and was simply something fun that she wanted to participate in, and she was asked to do it. So This might have been part of the reason that she left the group for good, and every time she tried to exist outside of it, she was just questioned and brought right back in. Those are celebrities and dark secrets that Leah Remini exposed. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below and follow the channel for more celebrity content each and every day. Thank you for stopping by on the screen, and we'll see you next time.